Meeting recording has started.
Should we begin?
Yes, we can. Recording it started from mine.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Shamin, and on behalf of the Brainalytics team and our title partner, Avaya India, we welcome all of you and a big thank you for being a part of our roundtable CX Impact DigiTalks Series 2 Digital Transformation in CX. Before we start the roundtable, there are a few guidelines that I would like to highlight and make everyone aware of, requesting all the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking their sessions. There would be a Q&A after each session where the attendees can ask questions, if any, to the speaker. There are a few guidelines. Raise your hand, unmute yourself, and turn on your video. Introduce yourself, and you can put forth your question. To start with, I would like to introduce our title partner, Avaya India. Businesses are built on the experiences they provide, and every day, millions of those experiences are built by Avaya. For over 100 years, they have enabled organizations around the globe to win by creating intelligent communication experiences for customers and employees. Avaya builds open, converged, and innovative solutions to enhance and simplify communication and collaboration in the cloud, on premise, or a hybrid of both. To grow your business, they are committed to innovation, partnership, and a relentless focus on what's next. They are the technology company you trust to help you deliver experiences that matter. Now, to start with our first session, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker, Saurabh Lakhanpal. He is sales specialist with Avaya India. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me just share my screen. Should be up now. All right. So when we talk about experiences, we focus on identifying and embracing the new technologies, basically to elevate the customer experience. But however, I think customers are not the only ones whose happiness we need to manage. We need to make our CEOs happy as well. And, it's not what you think, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the chief boss, but I'm talking about our customers, our employees, and the organization as well. And all of the experiences that we need to manage. And at Avaya, we call it as total experience. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for choosing to spend your time with us. My name is Saurabh, and I'm an experience builder at Avaya. We offer the platform to cater the total experience, and are your total experience partner. We're known for the experiences that matter, and we help create those experiences across customers, employees, and businesses. Now, before I talk about us, first we need to recognize that we're part of a technological revolution, which is fundamentally altering the way how we live, we work, and we relate to one another. In its scale, scope, and complexity, the transformation is unlike anything that humankind has experienced before. And if we talk about Industry 4.0, it represents a fusion of advances in artificial intelligence and robotics, the Internet of Things, genetic engineering, biotechnology, quantum computing, and much more. And what this is doing is it's fueling changes. And if we talk about the past decade alone, we've seen the introduction of driverless cars. We've seen payments, social media, online search, and apps which are creating a digital trail which is massive. And then there are conscious biases that we share all the time in the public ways by writing reviews or clicking on icons as well, and all of which is changing our experiences and the brands we become a fan of. And by the way, if you look at a fact, the data to train AI model has leaped from 2 zettabytes to 41 zettabytes in 9 years. And if we talk about the zeros in zettabytes, there are 21 zeros in a single zeta byte. And because of this, everything that we do has changed. Be it travel, shopping, entertainment, health, payments, or connecting with each other, right? And it's changing what we expect and what we want as a customer. And if we talk about today's customer, uh, what they want today is different to what they wanted yesterday, and certainly what they will want tomorrow. We call this the everything customer. Sometimes they want to shop online, but sometimes they want the comfort of the in-store experience as well. Sometimes they would want to serve themselves, but other times they also want to interact with a human. Sometimes they want their information to be used to personalize their services, to maybe proactively send them information. And other times they berate the organizations for not respecting the privacy, right? And sometimes they want to interact via WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Alexa, social media, and whatnot. But other times they want to resort to the traditional phone calls only. And put quite simply, they want to be connected but left alone. They want to be treated equally but served uniquely. They want it to be fully featured, but experiences to be effortless, and a consistent and expected service, but also they want to be pleasantly surprised with the unexpected. And the bottom line is, as customers, we want a lot, and delivering on CX ambitions is more difficult than ever in the today's scenarios. And to address the needs of your everything customers, you have to make their experience effortless. It needs to be easy, be proactive. In other words, it needs to just happen, right? Because customers who have an effortless experience, they tend to become fans of the brand. They associate and engage with the brand, but more importantly, they promote the brand to others as well. And the organizations, they can't just focus on customer experience. They also have to focus on employee experience, because the evidence is growing. When they have a direct that the customer experience and employee experience have a direct impact on each other, and we know that the empowered employees tend to be more engaged. And when they are engaged, they're more likely to apply additional efforts to solve the customer issues that they have. Equally, the user experience is critical as well. And UX is about the usability and design of apps or products to reduce the efforts and increase the engagement. This practical practice is typically applied to CX, and I think it should be applied more towards EX as well, because when the user experience is effortless and engaging, it delivers a better customer and employee experience. And finally, multi experience is critical too. MX is about the technical implementation across a wide range of devices, touch points, and modalities of interactions that takes into account the digital customer and employee journeys, especially when when their shared experiences, either asynchronous or in real time. And we know that when we connect the experiences across different devices, touch points, and modalities, the interaction is obviously improved, the user experience is better, and the resulting employee and customer experience is vastly enhanced. And the point is that the customer experience, employee experience, user experience, and multi experience are critical in their own rights. But they're also so intrinsically linked to one another that they can't be treated as separate swim lanes. And you have to focus on total experience and address all the constituent parts holistically, bringing maybe traditionally siloed areas like processes, resources, applications, and data across the business together to focus on all elements of the total experience. And if we talk about today's needs, they require today's solutions, which can address the needs of the everything customer in a total experience economy. Unfortunately, the reality for many organizations is that they're crippled by the technical debt, because they're held back with the applications that can't be changed on demand. uh, Customer service, if we talk about, is a perfect example of that. With every evolution from voice to multi-channel to omni-channel, then to multi-experience. We bolted on to another application, or we replaced it with another monolithic application, which was designed to solve a particular problem only. And each time we have done it, we have added more cost, more complexity, and more management effort to the application stack as well. Whilst at the same time, we have lost the agility, flexibility, and composability, which is essential to solve the new problems and move quickly. We have essentially made ourselves less agile and less responsive in times that demand rapid responses and the immediate turnarounds. And to help organizations, we have Avaya One Cloud, which is really all about the composability at the core to enable innovation at the edge. And it encapsulates all the facets of the total experience that we have discussed previously, from everything customer perspective. It basically puts your customers at the center of your business and builds on top of your existing investment to reduce the business risk and to drive efficiencies. It's basically an experience platform. It's not a deployment model or an application, but instead it's a platform which is focused on delivering the total experience. It's unified, not siloed. So you see CCaaS, UCaaS, and CPaaS applications. Instead, we have all that available on the platform. The level of integration between them is completely blurred, and there is no lines of segregation. That you see. And when it comes to business needs, Avaya One Cloud offers the capabilities that are based on four pillars of excellent customer experience, which basically ensures the total experience is always fully connected throughout the entire journey across any touch point which the customer uses, irrespective of the channel, the interaction, or resources, or time as well. The total experience is always orchestrated so that customers and employees have everything that they need on their fingertips, by breaking down the functional resources and application silos. The total experience is always managed by empowering every resource with the right support, with the right tools, and coaching from basically from the point of recruitment throughout their tenure. And the total experiences which are always intelligent, through a continuous infusion of knowledge and insights throughout the journey for both the customers and employees, so that they can make informed decisions and take the best actions which are available to them, right? And we're not just limited by it. The Avaya One Cloud basically provides a multi-cloud ecosystem which unleashes the full potential of industry innovation to grow your business, because it combines the benefits of Avaya portfolio together with a variety of players. They can connect, or you can connect to leading cloud platforms. It basically provides an access to extensive market leaders in their own rights and their respective areas of expertise. And of course, it enables our global partner network to plug their capabilities and applications into the platform to expand both Avayas and applications, and from a customer perspective, a single point of connection for all kind of requirements that you have. Now, in summary, what we are doing is, with the total experience platform, is we are reducing the cost, the complexity, and effort which is involved in serving the everything customer. Uh, at the same time, we are ensuring that agility, extensibility, and composability is available, which enables the organizations to move at the speed their customers are moving. And let's look at how the total experience journey can look like. The customer journey shown on the screen is very typical across many different types of businesses. Journey usually begins with the customer researching or comparing products on the web, as most of us do. We may initiate a web chat with an employee when we have questions regarding the product features or specifications. Ultimately, when we decide that we like the product, and maybe we use the credit card to make the purchase, Sometimes when we make a purchase, we may have questions on another part of the transaction. It can be around the shipping status or the shipping preference that we want to modify after we have made the order. So what we do is we maybe decide to pick up our mobile device, and we connect with the company over voice. We are then greeted with the self-service automation on how to proceed. Some of the inquiries or the queries can get resolved on the self-service. Others, which are not resolved there, we decide, that help from an employee is needed. The contact center application basically routes us to an employee which is skilled in the product which we have selected, irrespective of the channel that we're using. The employee who is selected has an easy to use modern desktop where they can see the prior interaction along the complete customer journey, starting from the website and till the point that the self-service was utilized. This time, the employee may need assistance from their supervisor or from a back office employee, so they can connect to the either to the supervisor or to the back office employee using the same desktop that they have. They get the needed guidance, and then swiftly and accurately they respond to the customer inquiry. And of course, with full reporting, the organizations are able to improve the customer experience moving forward. This is a prime example of a true end-to-end customer journey, which is leveraging the capabilities of Avaya solutions. Right. With that, I'll take a pause and see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I'll hand it back to you, Chaman.
Thanks, Saurabh. Thank you so much. Yep. Thanks, Saurabh. Do we have any questions for Saurabh? Okay, no problem, Saurabh. I think let's move forward to the panel discussion, and probably at the end of that session, if anybody has any questions for you, we can take them at that time. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Moving forward, we have an interesting panel discussion on digital innovation, identifying and embracing new technologies to elevate CX. I would love to introduce our speakers today. We have Arpanagya Saha, he's Chief Digital Officer with Nippon India Mutual Fund. We have Dolan Bastia, she's Senior General with Glenmark Pharmaceuticals Limited. We have Sharad Malik, he's Operations Consumer he's head operations consumer and enterprise IoT Vodafone India. There is Mr. Vimal Vyas, he is head service quality and customer experience with Tata Click. We have Pratik Vora, head online reputation management with Games 24 into 7. Bharat Milag, head consumer solutions India and South Asia with Visa. Neha Parekh, she is head of logistics and customer experience, Godrej Consumer Products Limited. Prashin Jobalia, he's vice president, marketing strategy with House of Hiranandani. We are so honored to have all these speakers with us today. I would now request our panel moderator, Vishal Thakkar. He is head unified communication and collaboration with Avaya India to take it from here. Over to you, Vishal.
Good afternoon and welcome to everyone. Businesses and organizations are always looking to enhance their customer experience strategies that help maintaining long-term relationship that attracts new customers and retain the old ones. In order to implement an effective digital customer service and experience strategy, it's very important to understand that customers' current journey so that it can be enhanced. Focusing digital transformations on the customer experience forces companies to address, empathize, and understand all the touch points in which they interact with customers every day. On that note, I welcome all the panel speakers, and I start with my question to Mr. Prashin. And Mr. Prashin, my question to you is that what consists of a robust and agile technology ecosystem which can ensure evolution of customer interactions, delivering ROIs and exceeding their expectations. So Mr. Prashin, over to you.
Well, good afternoon, Charmaine. Vishal, thank you so much, and all the panel members. Good afternoon. Uh, I think the question by itself sounds very complicated, but I would like to put it very simply. It's about how customer experience will lead to ROI, and I genuinely feel that customer experience does is one of the most fundamentally important things that will lead in good amount of ROI. So what I would do is I would like to kind of put down my thoughts in form of few points and few examples that we do at our organizations, which probably would help and put forward my thoughts in detail. So just like to add few points with respect to the access these days with to mobile and internet data consumption has surged drastically in the last few years. Lockdown induced by the pandemic has helped increased a lot of e-retails. There has been people who are shopping, and there are brands who are chasing people again with respect to what they want to sell. COVID has become a key catalyst in the evolution of the overall customer experience, which backed by technology. So that primarily has led to people innovated a lot and ensure that their customers are getting well treated. Overall, our customers today are so well traveled that they are aware of clear international practices, and hence they expect similar kind of experiences from Indian brands. With respect to online presence of our customers has gone highest with when it comes to post the lockdown really. Customer retention has also become a key challenge due to the presence of competitors in the digital space. Today, if you have a favorite brand, it's no longer going to be your favorite brand in probably next 6 months because you'll definitely find an option somewhere or another. The overall technology as an ecosystem that automates and bridges the gap between the consumer and the brand and enhances that the customer relationship can result in striking difference for the organizations. A confluence of robust technical provision coupled with technologies such as AI, machine learning, etc., have proved to be a game changer when it comes to the overall customer experience. With respect to content led and right use of social media platforms, things like digital events, webinars like we are having right now, does result in an overall a strong ecosystem and hence save a lot of real estate costs as well. Well, real estate as an industry where sales over virtual mediums are are so difficult to take place. We have probably adopted technology to a great extent where it helps us, save a lot on an ROI standpoint and also to meet customer expectations to its fullest. We were quick to kind of envisage these challenging business needs, and within a few days of our digital platform, post the pandemic struck, we were able to kind of gain a lot of pace after the lockdown. Soon we developed a platform that linked our entire sales and marketing cycle, and the entire process was being brought on digitally. We had access to our databases, which was about to our databases during the lockdown, and we ensured that we connected through them digitally. We were able to generate leads, present our products digitally through e-brochures, created 360-degree images, videos, virtual site visits when it comes to real estate sales, and even created a provision for people to book apartments directly from the website. The customer interaction continued through regular communications in form of webinars, mailers, in form of video meets and virtual events. Few examples that I would like to share that we did was with AI powered marketing automation tools. We were able to connect to our customers and ensure that we were in touch with them via emails, SMSs, WhatsApp, and through which we could easily connect with our prospects. These kind of techniques really helped us increase the number of qualified leads and overall reduce time and also reduce our cost per acquisition as well. One other tool that we used during the pandemic and we are still using now is a video ask tool, which practically helped us, discuss with customers, let the customers be on the site, and they did not go ahead and read out the entire content because real estate content can be a little bit more difficult to consume, and hence we had, videos with where sales representatives and our product guys explain the overall product to them right in form of a video, so they didn't have to go ahead and read through these. Real estate by itself is the only product that is sold even before it's created. So providing a touch and feel experience for customers really becomes a big challenge. We actually overcome such challenges by the introduction of 360-degree tools or virtual images. We even managed to create a virtual site office that helped us get people to touch to actually see and feel the product before before they kind of come to the site as well, and that helped us again reduce the sales cycles to a great extent. The
Absolutely, Mr.
update.
Prashin. I think you have given us the excellent examples of how you can use the technology, typically AI-based, game-changing applications, and which helped you growing your business even during the lockdown and even after that. So appreciate your thoughts, Mr. Prashin, and we'll come back to you for on another question. We also have Ms. Dolan with us, and can we have your views, Ms. Dolan? Ma'am, I think you need to unmute yourself. Ma'am, is it me only or everyone else?
Yeah, we can't hear you, Dolan.
Okay. So, Dolan ma'am, request you to check your connection for audio devices, and we come back to you. Until the time, maybe we can have views from Mr. Bharat Nilag, who is also with us. Mr. Bharat, over to you, sir.
Sure, thank you. First of all, can you hear me fine?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you, see you.
perfect.
Excellent.
Great, great. I wanted to begin by thanking the organizers as well as Avaya for inviting us. So, uh, I think you've given me 3 minutes. So I see it's 3:59. So I will try and end at 4:02 sharp. Uh, on the question of the tech ecosystem, right? I just want to sort of put it a little differently and say what are the important elements for a company to digitally transform itself, right? And what are the sort of must have. So I think the first is, and I think the previous speaker Prashan also sort of mentioned that is around IT uplift, right? So what I mean by IT uplift is that most of the organizations pre-pandemic actually realized that their IT systems are legacy systems, which are not sort of in line with what the needs are during pandemic when everything went virtual. So important is to actually work around those legacy systems and see what best can be done. And I just want to give an example there. All of you might have heard of fintechs like Slice and Uni and Stashfin, etc., right? And some of you might even have products from these fintechs. But I don't know if all of you have heard of this bank called State Bank of Mauritius, or SBM as they call themselves, right? What is unique about this bank and why I'm talking about it, I don't endorse. I mean, it's not an endorsement of SBM. They're one of our clients. But what is interesting about this bank is that they actually started just before COVID happened, around end 2019, beginning of 2020, which actually meant that they didn't have the legacy, systems that all the large private and MNC banks have, which has actually helped SBM to pivot to partnerships with fintechs and offer modular products in terms of payment products. So when you use your Uni card or Slice card, you're actually using SBM's system, which are actually in line with what these fintechs wanted. So that's one example of what sort of an up-to-date IT system can do. So that's point number one. Point number two is obviously around digitizing operations, and I see that this panel has a mix of new age companies as well as sort of I don't want to call all of us old age companies, but older companies, so to speak, right? So I think even however old your company is, digitizing your operations, optimizing your existing businesses is extremely important, and it has become even more so during this the last 2 years or so. The third part, which is very interesting and one of my personal favorites, is around digital marketing. And digital marketing has always been around for the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, so to speak, right? But at one point in time, digital marketing only meant that along with your entire media plan of having out of home, TV, radio, etc., also add a bit around Google, Facebook, so on and so forth, right? And now, if you think about it, digital marketing is actually probably the most important element. I mean, I stay in Mumbai. I when I drive or when I'm on the Western Express Highway, I still see hoardings there, and I'm like, is there any requirement for these hoardings? You're spending crores and crores of rupees, millions of dollars on these hoardings. And I see a panelist from GCPL, Neha, here, and I'm sure she might have a different view on it. But I think digital marketing is something that is here to stay, and it might be a better ROI from a tech perspective again to invest more in digital marketing. And lastly, what I would call as new ventures. Again, when I say new ventures, each company looks at it differently. You could actually have, for lack of a better word, quote unquote, a new age company within your company, a startup within your company. But I think the whole company has to become a startup. So, as an example, earlier this week, around Monday or Tuesday, we announced something called Visa Garage within our organization. It's not an external facing entity; it's an internal entity called Visa Garage, and obviously Garage because that's where all the large startups like Apple and HP and Microsoft started, right? But that's actually something that encourages entrepreneurs in residence or entrepreneurs as we call them. So I believe again that's not something which is a good to have. It's something that's a must have. You break things, fail fast, move forward, right? So I think those are the four things. And I'm sorry I exceeded by 1 minute, which would make for a good tech ecosystem. So back to you,
Yeah,
Vishal.
Mr. Bharat, spot on. I think I really love the idea, the way you have explained that, how you can use it in fintechs and giving live examples of State Bank of Mauritius and even your internal examples like that Visa Garage. I really loved it. Good to hear your views on this, sir. And I think talking about that digital marketing and how you can utilize it for the businesses is what is the need for an hour. And thank you, sir, for your inputs. And Ms. Dolan, hope your audio is now taken care. And can we have your views on this, ma'am?
Can you hear me now?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Great.
Please.
Uh, so, good afternoon, all. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me in this roundtable. And I'm thinking personally, it will be a huge experience, learning experience for me as well, listening to the different thought leaders of the industry. Uh, I will limit my answer to the industry that I work for, that is healthcare and pharmaceuticals, right? And to be very honest, healthcare as an industry, pre-pandemic, we have been using, we were using all the age-old practices. We were getting results, and we were kind of quite happy with the age-old practices which we have been using for decades. We never felt the need for adopting a digital media in the healthcare. However, with the pandemic, everything changes, and overnight, abruptly, all the companies, organization, all the stakeholders of the healthcare ecosystem shifted to digital media. Now it started like first I think the starting point was e-consultation, because finally we are dealing with healthcare, that's life and death of a person, so we can't afford to wait for wait and watch and the things getting normalized. So the first point, when a patient want to see a doctor when he or she doesn't feel good, so when there was lockdown, there were restrictions on the movements, the patient had no option but to go for e-consultation. That it was the first change in the ecosystem of healthcare that happened. So people started with a very unstructured manner, sometimes with video, WhatsApp calling video, sometimes with Viber videos, and then the other companies afterwards came with the e-consultation platforms. So this was the first change in terms of bringing a revolution in the healthcare ecosystem to build a robust system in the future, right? The second thing that came probably during pandemic was the e-commerce, use of e-commerce platform, because of the access the patients have now to the information via various social media platform, via various Google like platforms. They want to be part of their healthcare decision making, right? So there was a trend which was seen that patients started searching in the platforms about probably the immune boosters, which are the medicines that can help their immunity, right? And there was a survey which shows that in Singapore, the searches actually increased up to 5 or 6 times during pandemic. So that actually led to the e-commerce, booming of the e-commerce industry, because people had access to the medicines which are good for their immune boosters or something like that, and then they had access to these platforms, and finally they end up
using the e-commerce more and more. And at the end of the day, everybody realized that we may not be, doing going forward, we may not be working the same age old way that we were doing, and there is a need for bringing digitalization to build a robust, healthcare infrastructure. Now, what is the end result that a robust healthcare infrastructure will bring? Probably, at the end of the day, we want affordable medication and customized healthcare service and real-time database that will probably be provide a prompt and efficient service. Now, if I talk about the three pillars of the robust healthcare ecosystem, the first one is provider, the second one probably patient, and the third one is payer. Now, when I talk about provider, everybody, I mean, provider means healthcare facilities, pharmaceutical companies, pharmacies, labs, and all, right. And everybody felt the increasing demand for healthcare services. At the same time, during pandemic, they were suffering with incomplete patient data, resource limitation, and the existing healthcare infrastructure with a very not very developed one. So there was a need that everybody realized there is a digitalization probably can be the savior, and if we can bring automation in the entire service provider industry in terms of healthcare, so probably that will reduce the operational burden of the healthcare services. And also, if there are access to patient mediated data, that will be even make the entire process prompt and quick. Now, when I talk about the second P of the entire healthcare ecosystem is the patient. If you see traditionally in the treatment cycle, patient was always a passive recipient. It was the providers who used to decide the future of the treatment. But now with the accessibility of the healthcare reports, customized reports for the patients, they want to be that part of the
अपनी
decision
प्रोफाइल
maker,
में
right? Hello. So they want to be part of the decision maker. So probably there are examples also which can be predictive analysis will play a major role in terms of bringing a robust healthcare system for them. I'll give an example. There are many triggers. If you know about allergic rhinitis or COPD or diabetes, there are many triggers which can actually aggravate the situation. And if there are some applications which can give them in advance the indication of depending on the GPS or the air quality indications, that can actually help the patient getting prepared and take the preventive measures. Now, coming to the last part, that is the
absolutely,
payer.
Dolan ma'am. I think we could go on, and I think we would just love to hear from you that there are various ways a technology provider like us can really improve and come with some innovative solutions. And really love the way you have explained that. Okay, there was pandemic and there was e-consultation, and those were the need, and using e-commerce platform for the benefits. And really, thanks for your views, ma'am. Just one question to you. I can see a lot of medals behind you. What are those?
Okay, these are all related to marathon. Yeah.
Okay. No, I am myself a marathon runner, and I know those were marathon medals. So just thought of asking. So maybe I'll connect with you later on
Yeah.
this. Okay. And we also have Ms. Neha with us. And Ms. Neha, my question to you is how organizations can accelerate digital interactions to provide unmatched customer experience. Over to you, Neha, ma'am.
I think a lot of good examples being shared. And yes, I feel as Godrej, we say Godrej Consumer Products, while we call ourselves as FMCG, but one thing that has happened is this: while we call ourselves as fast moving consumer good, we now have a term that there's a furiously fast world out there, and that is even faster than what
Absolutely.
FMCG is working. Because if you see the product attributes that the customer want to remember, actually customer experiences is even rated above the product and the pricing itself. This means the customers are valuing and hence they want to believe. uh, of course, thanks to pandemic that we all had a boost in terms of digitization that we took into, but like Saurabh said in his keynote, that customers wants to be engaged but still want to be left out. So how as an organization do you find those snippets where you are entering it at the right time, and ensuring that while you may not be interfering, there's still a privacy being maintained. How the organization have to put it, I feel there's no choice but for us all to ensure that we are on that track. There was a recent survey that was happened that post pandemic 70% adoption to digitization has happened across the board. But when that has happened, and this has been the quickest pace in the last decade, 50% of the organizations believe that they are already late, right? So that's the kind of agility that people are showing. And I'll give an example, not in the consumer goods, but something that I also do as logistics. Earlier it was teams sitting next to each other and hence having a close interactions. But now with pandemic happening, we always supposed to go and work, and we have something called as tracking all the vehicles that move out. That was a manual process where we are putting. And post pandemic, now we moved to a full-fledged TMS where it is all digitized, and at the dashboard, teams sitting across the country, across 28 different locations, can exactly map which vehicle is where without even talking to each other. So these are very live examples of how the work can get better, how they can be very focused, need based approach that you can take and automate. Other thing that it will solve for us is also lot of work, lot of experience with the data that is coming. That's rich information. How do you go and put it? Like very classic example that I always use is, uh, you now have your cart where you get your monthly basket auto populate if you want to. So the cumbersome task of remembering your grocery list can also be automated. Now you have a choice: do you want to keep it or you don't want to keep it? But at least it kind of serves as a good reminder, right? And it is so easily getting into our lives that we are not even realizing it. I never expected that my 5-year-old toddler would be okay attending an online school and will, I mean, getting a comment during his report card saying that he can independently mute and unmute himself was something that we thought that we never got such comments when we were kids, or we never expected this is what we may have to face. But this is all thanks to digitization across the areas of our life. Things are changing, starting from the way we are ordering our morning paper, to milk, to booking a restaurant, to going out, and all of this is and if you see the retention rates that you're getting, yes, as Indians we always say that we are a discount generation, but that's changing, because now it is experience that is mattering. And if you see even food ordering, or certain brands that people are adopting, that is where they are putting. And even as Godrej, and like we heard an example of Visa Garage, it's important to have incubation centers within, because it's the must have needs. In fact, as Godrej, we have a lot of brands which are digitally native brands, which we have not launched in a normal trade, but they're only available in digital, and they're doing wonderful. So I think it also serves as a good platform for us to try out new initiatives, think if it is working, and then expand it bigger. I think a wonderful world that we all are living in, and we'll see many more adaptations as this evolution continues.
Absolutely, 100% with you, ma'am. And yes, that's true that 70% of digitization happened during the pandemic. We don't want any more such things. But yeah, from the digital acceleration perspective, yes, the journey is much faster now. Thanks a lot, Neha, ma'am, and appreciate your views on this. We also have Mr. Vimal Vyas. Sir, can we have your views on this, please?
Hi, good afternoon, Vishal, and good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, sir.
So, Vishal, I'll keep my view very generic and industry agnostic. So, I think as we have seen, consumer habits have been altered as a result of digital transformation that's happening, right? Furthermore, these new digital technologies have triggered a shift in expectations as well, right? Leading to emergence of new breed of modern consumer. um, and consumer frequently rank firms based on their digital customer experience, which was not the trend, whether it's B2B or B2C. If you talk about, if I were to kind of classify the this entire question into two different buckets, one from the customer perspective and business perspective. So I think some of the avenues from consumer side, or to improve digital interactions, is to say more to do with reachability for your consumer, right? We can talk about service and purchase convenience, because that becomes a top priority when you're talking about digital interaction with any brand. Customers are demanding more of personalization as well, so that is one more avenue to improve customer experience. And the channel flexibility plays very important role, right? Some of the interesting case that I could think of, which are applied in customer service as well, specific to contact center or support aspect, if you can uh, think about, is the responsiveness. So when I'm talking about responsiveness, I think it's all about how quick you are and how relevant you are. So that is one area where organization can focus to accelerate this kind of digital interactions to improve their responsiveness. um, so the expectation of customer is that they will receive personalized service, and organization must make use of all the systems, previous correspondence, purchase history, customer behavior, and integrate everything together to provide exactly what your customer wants. And as I mentioned, customer also desire a smooth experience across all channels, right, regardless of medium that you talk about, in order to deliver single user friendly consumer experience. So I think for any organization who is kind of thinking or in this journey of accelerating digital experience, must think about how one can integrate all the digital platforms that you have to deliver this seamless experience. So that's on the CX side. I'll quickly touch upon business side as well, that while we talk about CX, I think it's important for us to look at the profitability and other business critical metrics as well. So I think, how do you build competitive advantage, right? How can this whole digital transformation help you to improve your first time to market, to build relevancy, to build resilience, to have those connected marketings and connected sales are some of the important aspects. And I think my fellow panel just touched upon resource part as well. So resource management, right balance between human and bot RPAs, which Saurabh touched upon, are some of the very interesting area to explore the digital acceleration, but in a meaningful way.
Absolutely. Sir, I think you have touched the responsiveness and the customer demand and that integration of the processes. That's really wonderful and actually real time. That's what is the challenge we as a technology provider face most of the times, because you need to give that personalized experience so that that integration becomes fruitful to all of us. Thanks a lot for your views, sir. We also have Mr. Sharad Malik with us. Mr. Sharad, can we have your views on this as well?
Yeah, thank you so much for making me a part of this discussion. Thanks, Vishal. Thanks, Sharmin. Yes, it's a very important point, and from an accelerating digital perspective, I think there are a couple of points that I've noted down, and I think they are extremely important if you have to move in that direction. Some of the points that Saurabh also spoke right about in the beginning, I think they're very important for all of us. And so one of the first point that I talk about is, it's very important that organizations accept and work towards a hybrid working model. It's a very key thing in terms of accelerating digital, because that is where you're actually going to get access to talent. And I think organizations should believe and should continue with this. From a pandemic point of view, this has been a big change that has happened in all organizations. I think this is a point that we must continue with in the future, and a lot of companies are doing that. And you will get people from across the world working for you, and that will actually accelerate your whatever you want to do digitally. The second point, which Avaya also talked about, and you sort of talked about it, is obviously it's very important. There are two kinds of companies. One is the geo kind of a company, which actually came as a technology company and has leveraged that to its maximum. And there is another kind of a company which is a legacy company. It's been old, it's been there in the system for 100 years, and and obviously it's very difficult for them to move to a digital space of life. I think it's very important that organizations, they move from silos to a from a silo data perspective to a single data perspective. I think that's extremely important, that your data should start residing at one place. Even if you're building monolithic applications, I think monolithic is completely out of the way, and it's complete stupidity to even make those kinds of applications today. So this is very important. Another point, which I would like to touch upon, is that digital should not be treated as a completely different entity within an organization. It's just another omni-channel, I think. And that's once you start thinking about that, it's you will start connecting the dots within your legacy systems also. It's okay for a new organization to build it that way, but it's not okay for a legacy company to start putting various people within the organizations as as a completely digital entity. I think it's completely my point of view on that. Next point, from a digital accelerating digital, is you must understand your processes. So process understanding has to be extremely, extremely key. If you don't understand your processes, if you don't understand the gaps in your processes, if you so you know so my Bharat spoke about State Bank of Mauritius, and I had a very bad experience with State Bank of India a couple of days back, and this experience was about I wanted to get a joint account, and can you imagine that in today's age I'm going and doing a KYC right at the bank, and someone is signing up that form, and this is a very, very clear example of how we can change those processes and make them more flexible and viable. And the last point which I thought about was that when you're thinking about technology, please start thinking about technology from a long-term point of view. And very,
Absolutely.
very important,
Yeah.
because if you're buying a technology today, you should have a roadmap for that technology 5 years, 6 years hence. Because if you don't have that roadmap within the organization, again you will land up in building applications which will not be good. It will not be good from a customer point of view. It will not be, and obviously you'll end up spending more money than eventually you would have done. You probably would
Absolutely.
spend lots
Yeah.
of money now, but it's very important for you to build it for 6 years.
Absolutely, sir. I think value your feedback and comments, sir. And I think the live examples of integrating processes, and other than that, your personal experience, maybe that's something a different topic. But thanks a lot for your view, sir. Appreciate your thoughts. And my next question is about how organizations should create personalized experiences that resonate across all your digital channels, and what are the benefits. And I would like to invite Mr. Arpan Saha on this. And sir, can we have your thoughts on this, please?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Sharmeen, for having us over here. And I think the question itself has the answer. So that is how I would like to start answering this question. Um, when we talk about getting consumers, be it across online touch points or offline touch points, I think the common goal is it has to be what I fondly call the 3F strategy. It has to be friendly, it has to be frictionless, and it has to be futuristic, right? So once you have this mapped in your mind, right, you can pretty much superimpose this across whatever you do. Now if you come to the context of creating a digital road you know map. All right. So whatever you're doing, you understand that your consumer is now faceless, he's emotionless, he's coming over here, he or she is coming over here, and he expects these 3 F's to cater to him. Right? Now, be it across your automated IVR bot call center, or be it across the automated WhatsApp that he is carrying with your business account number, and the same experience when he wants to go and do a certain transaction with you on your website or on your mobile app. And someone might say, hey, I don't want to download mobile apps. I just want to use the Google Assistant and do the entire transaction on voice with the company voice hangout zone, right? And I think that's where your assets have to be enabled enough to understand what does this consumer want. If it's an existing consumer, you are lucky because you have data. Data is the oil, and the oil can get you moving. So you know what he's exactly seeing, what he wants to do. When was the last time he had a grudge or a love, right? And you could position yourself accordingly. If it's a new consumer, I think real-time systems allow you to analyze his age segment, his interests in a millisecond, and you can start throwing in the right kind of product, services, which you think as an organization would be of value add to the consumer, right? Uh, and I would like to quote the example of diapers over here. Although I am from the fintech industry, diapers are nowadays used both by the babies and the senior citizens. So you need to know
Absolutely.
who's there on the other side of the screen, and you need to offer what he really wants. experience in my context on digital experience has to be seamless. Frictionless is therefore the word. uh, the online customer is 5 times more fidgety than the offline customer. When the offline
Absolutely.
customer was getting irritated waiting in a branch, you would send your peon to give him a glass of water followed by a coffee. uh, and for the online consumer, you just have to give him his service, and very fast. I think speed, business at the rate speed of thought, needs to be the mantra for any digitally evolving ecosystem, and it has to be futuristic in terms of experience and in terms of offerings. That's my concise view on how it should be, irrespective of industries, irrespective of millennials, zennials, or people like us, uh, on the faceless digital platforms. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Love the way you just explained your 3F strategy. I absolutely adore it. Thank you, sir. Absolutely wonderful. We also have Mr. Bharat. And Mr. Bharat, can we have your views on this, sir?
Sure. Thanks, Vishal. And I think Arpan, it's a tough act for me to follow after what you spoke about, right? So I'll try my best. But so what I'm going to speak about is something that I've picked up from the recent HBR issue. So and I think all of you should look it up. It's by David Edelman, who's a professor there, and Mark Abraham, who's a senior partner at BCG. What they speak about is very interesting, and they say that today companies have only two competitive modes. One is seamlessness or frictionlessness, as Arpan spoke about, and the second is around personalization, right? So, what is going to be the future for all companies, whether again, new age, old age, whichever way you want to categorize it, is actually the ability to first gather data, synthesize it, and then utilize it for personalization. And each of these three elements are extremely important, right? There's no point in just having a lot of data if you can't use it for your benefit to offer to customers. So what I think companies are doing, and some companies are more successful than others, but there are instances of companies which all of us sort of, or services or products all of us use. So Google is of course one which is known for its personalization, right? Whether it's you know uh, you open Chrome and your screen or your background could look very different from mine, and so on and so forth. Amazon does it very well in terms of personalization. uh, Spotify, I mean, I know Spotify is not the best company to speak about these days, but Spotify I think is amazing in terms of the kind of personalization that they can do,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Starbucks, I mean, Starbucks, I think a lot of us sort of don't give it enough credit, but the whole digitization that Starbucks has done also leads to a lot of personalization in terms of offering, seasonal brews, so to speak. What companies probably need to do is what I would refer to as an intelligent experience engine, or IEE. I mean, since we're using acronyms quite a bit, so IEE, which basically what I mean by that is that you actually need to use human enablers. Obviously, the human resource aspects are very very important. So human enablers, along with data and technology, along with self learning and optimization, right? And that's what we mean by machine learning and so on and so forth. Uh, Before I get to what makes IEE successful, I think what every organization is looking to do, and again some are more successful than others, is figuring out what are the impediments to personalization. And there again in this HBR article, the authors speak about the 70-20-10 rule. Uh, any guesses on what 70 would be in terms of key impediments to personalization? The 70% is people. So it is not data, it is not technology. 70% is purely people, which is around how do you change the mindset of an organization. And I think Prashant spoke about it from a real estate perspective. It's amazing how real estate has become like it's grown so much in terms of digitization in the last 2 years or so, right? So I think it's companies like Hinandani who are probably changing the mindset of their employees, and they're themselves changing faster than other companies. So 70% of your work is done if the people aspect is taken care of. 20% is data and 10% is tech. So that's how you look at probably the impediments to personalization. And then finally, in terms of what are the key elements which make this IE, as I'm calling it, successful. So first is around having a clear linkage between data insights and then how do you connect the data signals and insights, right? So you get something from raw data, how do you actually make sense of it, or what are the insights you get from it, right? That's number one. Number two is how, as an organization, can you reimagine end-to-end experiences as a seamless flow? And what I mean by that is, I think we've spoken about omni-channel in multiple, multiple speakers have spoken about omni-channel, but how do you actually first imagine that for your own customers, whether the customer, whether she's shopping online or whether she's actually walking into a store or she's using a third channel, how do you actually reimagine that flow? The third is around then activating those experiences across channels. There's no point in just reimagining those experiences if they don't translate into actually activating them. The fourth is, then how do you fulfill them according to the customer's context? And lastly, you need to, test and learn relentlessly. So A/B testing, run a champion challenger model, doesn't work, move on to something else. But if you don't test relentlessly, you will never be able to sort of succeed in this IE model as I'm referring to. So that's it from my
Yeah,
side.
absolutely, sir. 70% focus on people to build that robust, intelligent experience engine. I just love these thoughts. Excellent, sir. Thank you for sharing your views on this. And can we have Mr. Prashin also? And sir, can we hear from you? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think, am I audible?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Please go
Okay.
on.
So I think Bharat and Arpan, I think they both covered really well in terms of how personalization is helping when it comes to the technical aspects, and frankly, how how companies are kind of ensuring that personalization is becoming the way forward to connect to the customers. And I think while we are talking more about the customer experience overall, what personalization does is enhances the customer engagement, which by itself is a huge ploy to go ahead and connect with the customer back again. Traditionally what we have seen is traditionally, so let's get back to basics. When it comes to digital right now, it's very transactional. We are seeing things that are happening with respect to ROIs and ROS. People are being told to kind of see ads in certain way. People are then linked via a certain journey to the end results, and that's how they have been converted. But the entire element of selling, which was with respect to advertising earlier, like if you go back say 15-20 years back, how say ads like kuch baat hai zindagi mein, fevicol achhe se acha jod, there are ads which were being done so nicely, which were connecting very well to the customers, and that built in
Absolutely.
that emotional cue and connect for people to go ahead and take a decision. They felt that there was a certain need gap and they felt warmth. Now, to an extent, digital, to a great extent, you feel it's more of a transactional process. But this engagement that we are talking about, or this personalization that we need to kind of built in, will build in that emotional cue back to the lives of the customers. So it will help in a different form. It has taken a different avatar, but I genuinely feel that personalization brings back a certain bit of emotional cues and connect to a customer. Like I'm happy when a small thing like an emailer comes to me with my name, or it knows my birth date, or it probably reminds me of something which I need to do with my family. So it also from so that's where the emotional cue is stapled. And at the same point in time, they have taken a leap forward when it comes to reducing your buying time. It helps you understand your personal behavior. It's also very intrusive, pardon me, but it gets, if you do it right, when it comes to engaging with me in the right, on the right time, at the right time, with the right product, with the right attitude, it will definitely help me connect better with the brand. And hence that piece from an emotional standpoint, which was somehow missing, is what I felt when I compare 15-20 years back with those, those fantastic memorable ads, and to cut to today, when you have such transactional relationships that are happening on digital. I think personalization is the first step, and I think there is a lot more that we can do, the industry can do, when it comes to personalization with digital. And these small steps would definitely build in that cues and take digital personalization and customer engagement to another level. And we can speak a lot about small aspect, but I felt that this was something which was somewhere missing, and if it's been done rightly, it will bring in that emotional warmth to connect with the customer.
Absolutely. Rashid sir, I think you are spot on. And I think no technology can basically fill that gap of human connect. And that's where when emotions come, then that becomes more attached. And if that leads towards a customer engagement, then you have actually achieved a lot of success. And I think, Rashid sir, thanks a lot for your views on this and really appreciate the way you have explained, giving examples of some things which really touches somewhere we all as a human. Thank you, sir. And my next
Thank you.
question is going to be very interesting. This is what we face, and all of you as an expert face day in and day out. How organizations can turn challenges into opportunities while going digital. So we are obviously on the topic, and now we would like to hear views of Ms. Dolan. Uh, what you have to say on this? Over to you, Ms. Dolan.
Sure. So, again, my answer would be related to healthcare and pharmaceutical industry, right? So, the first thing probably we all were facing so far was our coverage and reach to the customers. And it's always been an issue, a balance, how we bring a balance between the resource that we, invest and how we get the return on that. And, with pandemic, because now we are shifting, I won't say we are shifting, we are kind of adopting a phygital model, which is a hybrid model between face to face and digital. So our coverage and reach to the customers have really increased. So this was a challenge for healthcare, most of the organizations, and I think with digitalization, this is a solution that we are looking for. The second, probably, the we all know that there is always a huge gap between the HCPs and the population of a country. If you take an example of country like Philippines, where the ratio of HCP and population is 1 is to 30,000, right? People have very poor access to good healthcare, specialty treatment, and there are general practitioners in the provinces, in the remote areas. So again, these challenges can be, overcome by bringing digitalization, e-consultation in the platform. Also, the third point that, with this pandemic, the new trend that has set up is the patient centricity. And companies, organizations, we often go for different promotions, bringing healthcare solutions which we feel as a need gap in the market. Now with the patient insights into it, we can really organization can bring a breakthrough molecule with the understanding of the need of the market, with the patient's insights, and that can be a huge opportunity for any organization. The next point that I would like to highlight is related to artificial intelligence, right? We all know that bringing a new chemical entity into the market for any organization, it takes years and billions of dollars and investment into it. And whatever the phase one, phase two, phase three trials that started, finally 10% of the drugs compounds will actually end up applying for the FDA approval. Now with the use of it, and the reason for failure so much is majorly, the suboptimal patient selection, sometimes, recruiting techniques, sometimes, poor control over the patients during the trial. So all these things can be probably addressed and resolved with the help of AI by any organization. So, if this AI can be adopted in the case of clinical trials, I think more and more molecules will come sooner into the market, and probably the investment will be lesser in the R&D sector for the organization. That will also reduce the burden of the cost on the patient, right? The second is e-commerce and telemedicine. This is something which is the future. We all know that, this market is going to grow at a CAGR of more than 15%, which is much higher than overall, pharma growth in these countries. So this is something which again will create a huge opportunity for all the organization, and you can really be present in every corner of the country, and you can make your medicines accessible to your patients. So this is again an opportunity. Use of augmented reality and virtual reality again can be a huge tool for healthcare organizations in supporting and educating the HCPs. This can be, for example, maybe the virtual reality, I'll give an example, if can be used by medical professionals and the healthcare organization help them, then performing a dangerous procedures which they often may have to put a patient's life in risk that can be avoided. So these are the various advantages, that probably the organizations can get benefited, and actually the challenges that we were having before the pandemic with the conventional way, with the adoption of digitalization, we can find a solution here and we can save the opportunity.
Absolutely, Bab. I think utilization of the newer generation technologies can really help where you can turn challenges into opportunities. Thank you, ma'am, for your views, and appreciate that you have given a very balanced view on what you should be doing and what you should be looking at from the technology's perspective. Appreciate your thoughts, ma'am. Thank you very much. We also have Mr. Pratik Bora with us, and sir, we would like to have your views on this, how organizations can turn challenges into opportunities while going digital. Over to you, Pratik, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Firstly, good afternoon, and thank you everyone for this opportunity. I think I'm the youngest one in this panel, both in terms of age and experience, and I'm really humbled to be part of this. It is really an enriching experience for me, listening and learning from all of you thought leaders. So I'll quickly like summarize what I feel on this today's topic. So organization, like, there are a lot of organizations that Bharat, Neha, Prashin, Vimal spoke about. And I completely agree with all four of them and others as well. Said because the consumer is evolving and how digital experience will digital experience define the perception for that brand. And basically I was very fortunate to start my career in digital marketing right when it was about to explode. And from there till now, I've seen it evolve. In like last 9.5 years. So for example, if you take during COVID time, the biggest challenge was team meetings, and the biggest company that took that as an opportunity was Zoom, and it converted into a multi-million-dollar business. Obviously, I mean, when I say Zoom, again, no offense is meant for anyone, including you guys. I mean, I'm just saying Zoom because that's when Zoom got extremely popular. During the first wave of lockdown. And similarly, in my industry, if I speak about gaming. Now, gaming in India was never considered as a career option, and it's still not considered as a conventional career option. In many parts of India, but all thanks to PUBG, COVID, and the social media, evolving social media. Many YouTubers proved that wrong, and in fact, there are. I personally know a lot of YouTubers that we work with, aged what 20, 25, and they earn much more than CEOs of some companies. So that's something that again, like I would say, the opportunity, the challenge was no one was seeing this as a career option, but due to COVID, due to social media, evolving social media, due to a lot of gaming sites, this evolved as an option. And I'm sure gaming is yet to explode in India, because if I mean if you go by numbers, it's just 5% penetration that has happened in gaming industry terms of career options. So that's one. And again, I'll also quote one more challenge opportunity example. Again, I actually shifted jobs during COVID, right? So in first wave I was with a advertising agency, DDP Mudra, where the challenge was, most of you must be knowing, because I'm sure all of you all have agency experience. So in agency, typically it is a shared resource sort of thing. Everyone handles multiple clients and stuff like that. So as a client servicing person specifically, we were always used to those brainstorming sessions, those chai sessions, those meetings, in-person meetings. But it went for a toss because of COVID. Hence, our entire organization had a conscious shift in moving our entire ecosystem on Google Cloud, like all our decks, everything. People started using more of Slack and Teams, which was not the case. Similarly, in ORM as well, while we launched Spotify in India in 2019, we were in two minds whether we should have a Twitter channel or not. But then obviously we thought we should go for it, because while there is a challenge in opening more platforms, because you need more customer support, more vigilance, more chances of PR crisis, but we converted this into an opportunity to get closer to the consumer, do more of social listening, understand their feedback, pass it on to the product, and with this implement social listening to an extent where we had engaging consumer conversations, brand moments, fun banter, the biggest example I would like to quote here is you can look it up. Just type Spotify and Good Day, and you will see plethora of articles. So there was this conversation from a guy that when he sees Good Day, he sees Spotify's logo. So we just a simple conversation where I was just like, my team was social listening, and we thought let's have fun with this guy. We not only converted his freemium account to a premium account for a year, we also used his Good Day to convert our changed our Twitter Spotify logo in that Good Day biscuit, and it earned crores
I
of
think,
free PR.
Pratik sir, I think the very right example of how you can turn challenges into opportunities.
Yeah,
Wonderful to hear you, sir. I think looks like we can just go on and on, but
no,
unfortunately,
that's
we
that's that's
have
all
to
I had.
be in that time bound. And we also have Mr. Vimal Vyas. And sir, can we have your thoughts on this interesting subject, sir? Sir, I think you need to unmute. We are not able to hear you, Vimal sir.
Yeah, am I audible now, Vishal?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me give you one example make sure that I'm able to demonstrate this. How do you convert your challenge into opportunity? And I just want to quote one example from B2B space with one of my previous organization, right? Now we were actually into contract, renewal mode with one of the largest pharmaceutical global giant. And at the last minute of renewal, we have been challenged to say that we need to help the CTO, group CTO of the organization, to reduce cost to serve by 15%. And then only we have any possible mandate to renew this contract. Now, traditionally in B2B, where we have plethora of enterprise products that we are, kind of supporting, never faced this kind of, situation at the stage of contract renewal. So I think when we did, all this whiteboard exercise together, and we asked for about 6 months to go back to the CTO with some kind of blueprint. What we realized that some of the activities that we have been engaged in doing, we never thought that there is a possibility of automation or transformation there. Just to give you example, we handle incident for this organization, right? And we are talking about a huge number of incidents because we were handling 425 locations globally. um, Diagnosis of specific issue and that's coming to us used to take about 22 minutes just to diagnose that what's wrong, and then allocate to L2 and L3 for further troubleshooting. And that's how we used to do this exercise. We had BME, MTech were doing this entire diagnosis. With the help of AI and ML intervention, we started prototyping, right? And some of the activities based on the algorithm that is to happen sequentially, uh, I'm amazed to say that we were able to process it very effectively and reduce this whole diagnosis from 22 minutes to just about 2.5 minutes. Never thought of, right? And the interesting thing is that because it was challenged and we tried this for the first time by one of the client, we could actually replicate this across our incident management practice for all our customers, and the offerings that we had. That's just one example, right? We did multiple interventions using RPA, cognitive RPA, AI, ML, in this entire value chain for customer. And just thankfully, because of one customer who challenged us, we could actually learn, evolve, and replicate, to bring that benefit to the larger organization. One more point here is that the biggest challenge for us was what are we going to do with those 80, 90 resources that we are going to have, who will be irrelevant over a period of time. I'm so happy to share this that we also took this challenge to ensure that how do we make sure that there are no job cuts, right? We ran this program to upskill them in this new age of technology, right, which is RPA, data science, digital. And out of 85 employees that were likely to get laid off or maybe on a bench, we were able to absorb 57 of them, right, which is almost 80%. And with them we actually created automation center of excellence as a greenfield function by itself. So I think these are some of the challenges that you have to kind of consider in totality. And you have so many cases available. I'm sure that my fellow panel members also will have those cases where it's all about just trying it once, and then you have tremendous opportunity to scale it up and get a larger benefits for your organization and for other customers as well.
Vibal sir, I think we must clap for Tata Click and team so that we get some good examples like this. A TAT of from 22 to 2.5% is really commendable, sir. So we look forward to have those excellent clicks on Tata Click. That's what I would say, and love to share your views on this and real life examples. A lot of learning from this, sir. Thank you very much for your views on this. And on this question, we would like to invite Mr. Sharad Malik and to have his thoughts on this. Mr. Sharad, over to you.
Yeah, yeah, very, very good example from the Tata Click team. I think very, very gives a lot of confidence that how challenges can be turned into opportunities. And so, congrats to the Tata Click team on that. One is, so I was thinking about, what are the kinds of and how are the companies, some of the companies evolved in the past, few years, and how they have actually, changed from taking those challenges and those challenges becoming opportunities. And one of the foremost examples, this is I'm from the telecom industry, so very important to note that Geo started its project management in 2010, and they launched in 2015. And in 2012, there was 3G auction that actually took place in the country, and in which crores and crores of money was spent. And at that time, when the 3G crores was being spent on that spectrum, Geo knew that in 2015 they're going to come up with 4G, and the rates at that point in time were 1 paisa per second, which was actually launched by Tata Docomo. They were abysmally low, very, very low. Your obviously your bills had fallen from some 100 rupees to, if you say 100 rupees, to around 40, 50 rupees because of this. And so how did Geo turn that into an opportunity? It didn't come out as a telecom company. It came out as a company that was completely digital in nature. It solved some of the the challenges that the consumers had. And the foremost challenge that they solved was all your data was real time. It was near real time. It was like, for example, if I spent, if I made an international call, if I was an international roaming, and if I spent 1 rupee over there, instantly on the app that information was available. They actually bought the OTT experience on the so Geo Cinema, Geo Music, everything was there for the consumer to and that's where the growth from I think growth of Netflix and Hotstar actually started from. It was all enabled by the huge speeds that we were actually getting on the 4G SIM for Geo. I think that was a great, great enabler. Obviously, it had a kickstart because it didn't launch itself as a old legacy company. It thought itself as a digital company, and that is how it launched. Another example which has happened very recently, and I'm quite amazed by that example, is how Tata Sky has evolved. Tata Sky was almost finished. It's a DTH operator, and everyone thought that Geo Fiber has come, and there are all kinds of apps available. I can watch any kinds of videos anywhere. But the way it is transforming itself from only Tata Sky to Tata Play now is a very, very good example of how they are leveraging today's environment from making that opportunity from being merely a DTH player. And the third example, and this happened during the pandemic period, another a new age company, Big Basket. Uh, their orders, they used to do around 1 lakh 20 to 1 lakh 30,000 orders a day. And when COVID happened, they were obviously, they used to do 3 lakh deliveries a day. And in a matter of 15 to 20 days, they had to increase the number of people who delivered, those essential items from 10,000 to 20,000. How did they do it? They had a theme within the organization which was to do more with less. And that theme, they said that they were able to do that, which a traditional company may not be able to do it. They were able to do it because they closed the channel for new acquisitions. And they said
Absolutely.
they said that they will only service their existing customers, and that's how they leveraged and changed their challenge into an opportunity. A couple of
Sharad
other
sir, I
companies
think
who are doing it, a couple of other companies who are doing it in today's environment, and a lot of government companies, because we are servicing them. We have smart meters now. You don't actually need to go to a house and check your meter, because the IoT sim will do that. You have these gas meters. You have connected cars. You have there is a very, very popular consumer company which now today is talking to us and is saying that they will track their ice cream carts because they actually want to know in on which turn of the road their ice cream will sell maximum. So
That's it. I
those are the
think
challenges that are.
we can, the list is just on. I think you have given absolutely wonderful examples talking about what is happening around your field and talking about right from bandwidth to meters. And really, today's consumer has a lot of options, and really organizations and providers are really turning out these challenges into opportunities. Wonderful to have your thoughts, Mr. Sharad, on this. And we are running a little short of time. I have one more question left, but I would like to ask distinguished speakers if time permits, should we go ahead with it? Because it might take 10 to 12 minutes more. So if you allow, maybe we go ahead with it, or maybe we finish here. Let us know, sir. Okay, so I assume that the silence says that we can go on for at least 10, 12 minutes more. My last question is about how adoption of artificial intelligence and machine learning help in automation of customer experience and employee experience, and what are the possible advantages of it? And I would like to invite Ms. Neha to have her views on this. Over to you, Ms. Neha.
Yes, thank you so much. I think AI ML are the right ingredients for us to match up the pace of digitization that we want to do. If they are not there and you don't convert, the Tata Click example is something that's reckoned in all of our minds, right? Unless you don't do it, because it's not about moving from 22 to 11 and then to 5 and then to 2. The speed at which you are expected to change is from 22 to 2.5, and probably next year when we speak, they may be doing it in probably one or quarter of a minute, right? That's where the speed. So if that kind of a pace we have to do, I'm not saying no, it's not humanly possible, but where it is possible to automate, and where the technology can convert those repetitive tasks into an algorithm, we should go ahead and use it. It will only give us the right pace and phase in which we want to do it. Unless we don't adapt to it, the digitization journey is going to be incomplete. So I would say it's not a necessary, but it's a must-have ingredient in our journey for us to get into. Otherwise, we'll not clock the right speed.
Vishal, you're on mute.
You're on mute, yeah.
I'm sorry. I
No, not
didn't
at all.
realize that. Okay.
We were waiting
I
for
was
this
saying that
opportunity.
very short, crisp, and clear messaging and understanding from the perspective of what a consumer company can offer and where all we should be focusing on. Where is the future going towards? Thanks a lot, Neha ma'am. Wonderful to have your views on that. Very crisp and clear. And on the same subject, we have Mr. Arpan. Sir, can we have your thoughts on this?
Sure. Smart data is the new oil for the industry, right? It's not data anymore, it's smart data. So you have data, but you need to understand how do you make that data smart. That smart data coupled with alternate intelligence gives birth to artificial intelligence, right? So smart data plus alternate intelligence builds artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is about taking into consideration the the different market movements, ups and downs, before you can predict something which will add value to your consumer, which will help you to reduce cost or open up a new revenue line. Very simple. I think uh, there's a lot of complication on machine learning and artificial intelligence. The first thing that I want to do is to uncomplicate, right? Now, on the second part, I'll just illustrate with a story. The future is going to be about embedded platforms. Now, Vishal goes out for a jog in the morning. His Fitbit counts 5,000 steps. Calories have gone down by 1 bp. The Medi applet in his mobile phone gets connected to his Fitbit. It picks up data. It says, all is good. Heart rate is fine. Maybe the caffeine can go down a bit. A silent message goes and hits the automated dash 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 bucks coffee machine. The caffeine level goes down. A new smoothie is put in front of him, which is the next sale. I think that's the cycle of artificial intelligence and machine learning in an embedded platform ecosystem, which one needs to visualize. That's my view about this entire thing. Thank you.
Yeah. Arpan sir, thank you. I think very short and crisply you have also concluded that there is no end to it, and that right from a coffee to something else, everything is a possibility. Arpan sir, thanks a lot for your views on this. And my last speaker for the last question today is Mr. Prateek. And can we have your views, sir?
Oh yes, surely. So I'll just keep it very short, because after Arpan sir, I don't think anyone can match up to his his enthusiasm. So I mean, I'll just give one example that we start doing in games 24/7 in our My 11 Circle and Rummy Circle game. So our DST, our data science team, identified certain parameters within our games, like time spent, first time deposit, which time of the day user is playing, etc. And then we started giving sending out hyper personalized offers, which is specific to only those users. Again, this was pushed via in-app notification, and this not only helped us in our retention efforts, but we also increased our revenue from that same player. So that was like one amazing thing that we could do, because of obviously because of the machine learning capability. And from a CRM to ORM standpoint, like there are a lot of tools that we explored which can help our agents with CSAT prediction, and also suggest the appropriate response based on the customer's historical engagement with our brand. So this helped in two ways. Obviously, brought the average handling time down by the from around a first response time of 40-45 minutes to like less than 15 minutes, and which obviously improved the CX and employee experience as well, because the interface was so smooth, so smart, that their interface was popping up. Okay, hey, Prateek, these are the three things that you should ideally say, because this is an angry customer, or this is a frustrated customer, and so on and so forth. And one of the biggest example here I would like to give is how MS Excel and PowerPoint has evolved. Like if you see the design section of MS Excel or PowerPoint, they automatically, because of the machine learning capability, they give you the a chance of selecting the chart types, design, font choices, etc. And similarly, one of the most popular extensions that I think most of us on this panel use, Grammarly. And Grammarly is nothing but a advanced use of AI that not only corrects the language. It started as a just a punctuation tool, but now it also detects the tone of your email and suggests you that, okay, this is sounding very rude. You may be angry with your boss, but this is not the way you write. So that these are the things that I would like to conclude with. And yeah, that's it from my side.
Pratik sir, I think good, and it looks like this is a topic where all of us can go on and go on and go on. So with this, we come to an end of this discussion. Thank you, everyone. I would like to close with a comment like customer experience expectations will continue to change radically over the next few years. Emerging technologies, shifting demographics, evolving customer preferences, and increased environmental awareness are all driving radical changes. Traditional businesses are often under pressure to reassess their value proposition, business models, and customer interaction strategy to ride emerging trends while capitalizing on the new business building opportunities. That's what we all are focusing into. Thank you very much. With this, we come to an end, and you have been a wonderful panel. I'm so honored to be part of it, moderating it. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And now I put it on to Charmin. Over to you, Charmin.
Thank you so much. I will ask everyone, do they have any questions for the speakers, for Vishal? Any questions from anyone? Okay, Vishal. So I think no questions as such. Great, great. Beautiful session. Thank you. On this closing note, I would like to thank our partner Avaya India and all our thought leaders for taking out the time from their busy schedules to be here with us. We really appreciate it. Also, thank you to the lovely audience that we've had today. We appreciate you being here. I hope all of you had a great session with our speakers. We shall be updating the video link on our website shortly and requesting you all to respond to our feedback form, which will be shared by us. The feedback also mentions about a one-on-one brainstorm virtual session with Avaya. We will be glad to connect you with them. Kindly follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, FB, Facebook, and Twitter for webinar and event updates. Thank you, everybody, once again. Take care, stay safe, and bye bye. And see you all very soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone. Thanks.